لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن دعا بدعوته واستنى بسنته وسار على نهجه إلى يوم الدين. Amma ba'd. My brothers and sisters in deen, I enjoin upon you and upon myself the fear of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. In today's sermon, we will be focusing on some of the teachings of one of the verses of the glorious Quran, that is verse 85, if I'm not mistaken, of Surah Al-Baqarah. In that noble verse, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is saying, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, أفتؤمنون ببعض الكتاب وتكفرون ببعض فما جزاء من يفعل ذلك منكم إلا خزي في الحياة الدنيا ويوم القيامة يردون إلى أشد العذاب وما الله بغافل عما تعملون. In this noble verse, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is saying, أفتؤمنون ببعض الكتاب, do you believe in part of the book? وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضٍ, and you disbelieve in part. Then he went further to say that فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. Nothing is the recompense, that is, nothing is the reward of those who do that amongst you, إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا, except disgrace in the life of this world. وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, and on the day of resurrection, يُرَدُّونَ إِلَى أَشَدِّ الْعَذَابِ, they will be returned into a more tormenting punishment. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is not unaware of all you do. So looking at this noble verse of the Quran, there are a lot of things we need to put into cognizance. First and foremost, as a Muslim, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala commanded you to enter into the deen, to enter into Islam, to submit to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala completely, in totality. Like he told us in the verse of the Quran that Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, O you who believe, he said udkhulu, enter fi silmi kaffa, into the path, that is into Islam completely. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ, do not follow the footpath, the footstep of what? Of shaitan. Why? He said, إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌ مُبِينٌ, because certainly shaitan to you is an open enemy. So as a Muslim, you are expected to submit yourself completely to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. You are supposed to submit yourself to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala's commandment. As he also said in a verse in Surah Al-Ahzab, that وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ, it is not expected of a believing man, وَلَا مُؤْمِنًا, or a believing woman, إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا, after Allah and His Messenger have decreed something, أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ, for them to have an option. That is, as a Muslim or as a mu'min, it is not expected of you, if they tell you that this is what Allah says, and you don't have any contrary, evidence or saying from the book of Allah, to go contrary to that. Meaning you don't challenge the commandment of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. The moment they tell you that this is Allah's command, then you are ready to what? Sami'na wa ata'na. We hear and we what? We obey. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, in the verse we quoted before, or the verse we say we are focusing on, He says what? Do you believe in part of the book? That is, do you submit yourself? Do you accept part of the Quran, part of the commandments of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala? That is, do you pick what suits your desire? The way most of us are. Yes, one will say he's a Muslim, but yes, when he comes into Islam, he wants to practice Islam his own way, not Allah's way. Yes, it's just like you being admitted into an organization or being admitted into a particular institution, and you say you want to live in that institution based on your own terms, not based on the rules and regulations of that institution. Or let's assume a Nigerian traveling from Nigeria to US, and on landing in US he said he's going to live in US based on Nigerian constitution. There's going to be problem. So if you are going to come into their country, they will tell you that you have to live by what? The rules or the laws of what? Of their land. If an American fly from US into Nigeria, then the moment he lands in Nigeria, then the constitution that is binding on him is what? Nigerian constitution, because he is not in US. He is a US citizen who have decided to leave his own country to come into another person's country. And you cannot come into someone else's country and dictate to the person how he should live in his own country. Just the way he will not come to your own country to dictate to you how what to live in your country. And that is why maybe when you go to different countries, some things are halal in one country and haram in one country. Or take for instance, same-sex marriage in Nigeria is what? It's haram, it's illegal, it's unconstitutional, it's unacceptable. But when you move to US, it is what? Constitutional, acceptable, and no more things. So if you land there, if it is done there, you can go and report. Because even if you report to the authority, nothing will happen. Why? Because the authority is in support. But when it happens here, you can go and report. Why? Because the authority is what? It's not in support. So as a Muslim, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is now asking you this rhetorical question. That is, if you are truly a believer, so why is it that you believe in what? Part of the Quran. You want to live your life, part of your life, you want to live it in accordance with the Quran because it suits you. And also you disbelieve in part of the book, meaning you also, part of the Quran or part of the teachings of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, you are not ready to go by it. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala went further to tell you the consequences of living that way, or the consequences of behaving in that manner. He said, فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ. Nothing is the recompense, nothing is the reward of those who do that amongst you, except what? إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا, except disgrace in the life of this world. As we usually remind ourselves from time to time, your obedience to Allah or your disobedience to Allah have consequences, and the consequences are not just meant for the hereafter. Because some of the mistakes most of us are making, you think that when you obey Allah or disobey Allah is all about what? Jannah and what? Hell, right? Yes, is a wrong notion. Your obedience to Allah and your disobedience to Allah have first and foremost consequences in your life in this world. Because the life of the hereafter until you die, that is when that one begins. So your life in this world, the temporary one, your level of your submission to Allah or your disobedience to Allah have also effect in your temporary life. Yes, the only thing is that effect on your temporary life ends when your life ends. Then you will now go to the permanent life. Then that one, the consequences, if you are not lucky, it becomes what? A permanent. To some, in some of the areas will be permanent, and to some lucky ones, the negative ones sometime may be temporal before you go into what? A good one which may likely be permanent for you. So when we look at this verse, Allah made it categorically clear. He said, فَمَا جَزَاءُ, nothing is the reward of those who do that except what? خِزْيٌ, disgrace. فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. He did not say فِي الْحَيَاةِ الْآخِرَةِ. He said فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا, in the life of this world. So we need to be very conscious of that. Disgrace where in the life of this world. When we talk about disgrace, it's about you having a life that you don't want. You having a life that you yourself you are ashamed of. Yes, today we can see what is happening around us. The economic state of the world is what? It's crumbling. The level of security is what? Reducing. It's getting worse every day. Why? Because people are not ready to obey the commandments of Allah Ta'ala. Yes, we may count other things connected to it, but like I do say to us from time to time, count 1,000,000 reasons why some things are not working. All the million reasons fall under one thing. That is what? Disobedience to Allah. So if somebody say, okay, the insecurity is high because there is what? Kidnapping, right? Yes, Allah has prohibited that. Or if you talk about drugs, Allah has prohibited what? Drugs. إن الخمر والميسر والأنصاب وإن الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان. Allah said what? فاجتنبوه. And he told you the reason or the consequences of getting involved in those things. He said إنما يريد الشيطان أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر ويصدكم عن سبيل الله وعن الصلاة عن ذكر وعن الصلاة فأنتم منتهون. So basically, when you look at things Allah is prohibiting, and I want us to always remember this, Allah never prohibits you from anything because He has something to benefit from you living it. And Allah never commands you to do anything because He has something to benefit from your own doing. Whatever He asks you to do are things that when you do them, you help yourself. When you do them, you have good life in this world, and in the hereafter you have a better life. And things He asks you don't do them, when you leave them, you will have a good life here, and when you leave them, you will have a better life in the hereafter. And when you do them, you will suffer here and you will suffer in the hereafter. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, we all need to check ourselves. What is your level of submissiveness to Allah Ta'ala? And at various angles. And when we talk about submissiveness to Allah Ta'ala, I want us to remember something. Every aspect of your life as a Muslim, it is supposed to be governed by Allah. Your marital life, your business life, your educational life, your social life, all aspects of your life, your economic life. There is nothing you want to do as a Muslim that there is no way Allah have directed you to do it. Or you want to marry, yes, first of all you will ask yourself, is it halal or what? Haram. And if it is halal, how did Allah say I should what? Marry. What type of woman did Allah ask me to what? To pick. Or as a woman you want to marry, and you now ask yourself, is it halal for me to marry or what? Haram. The person I'm going to marry, is it lawful for me to marry the person or what? Unlawful. And other aspects. Or in business, there are stuff that you cannot go into them as a Muslim, and there are stuff you can go into them. And also in terms of dealing with your customers, there are ways Allah Ta'ala commanded you to deal with your customers. Or even if you are what? A civil servant. Yes, you are employed by the government, but you are answerable to Allah first before the government, because the government is answerable to Allah. Everyone is answerable to Allah. Unfortunately, most especially we are lucky in our own country. In most cases, when somebody is going to be sworn into office, the book they give him to swear with is what? Either Quran or what? Bible. Meaning even your country understands that what? You have people who what? Believe in the existence of Allah. And they fear, or they are supposed to fear that Allah more than anybody. And that is why they feel when they give you that book to swear with it, like you are swearing with who? You are swearing with Allah. And you will do your work diligently. For the sake of who? For the sake of Allah. So you pray, so help me what? So help me God. Have it? Yes. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, we all need to begin to check various aspects of our life. Do not detach any aspect of your life from Allah. Like I say, one of the biggest mistakes you will make in your life is for you to think there is one particular aspect of your life that Allah has nothing to do with.
Allah is going to hold you accountable for even how you enter the toilet. Yes, your toilet. Because your life as a Muslim, Allah said, "Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alamin." Say, tell them, "Inna salati," certainly my prayers, wa nusuki, and my word, sacrifices, wa mahyaya, my life, wa mamati, and my death belongs to who? Lillahi rabbil alamin. Belongs to Allah, the Lord of the world. La sharika lah. There is none comparable unto Him. Wa bidhalika umirtu. That's what I have been commanded. Wa ana awwalul muslimin. So if all of us will think in this way, it will go a long way in solving most of our problems. It will go a long way in solving most of our problems. As a Muslim, always remember that yes, you are supposed to submit to Allah wa ta'ala. Like I said, even the road, when you hit the road, you leave the mosque, you pick your car is supposed to be governed by Allah. Yes, that's what makes you a Muslim. You are not supposed to drive just because, yes, you are on the road. You're supposed to drive thinking you are a Muslim. A Muslim driver is supposed to think as a Muslim, as a Muslim. Anything you are doing, you are supposed to be guided by Islam. You expect those in politics to be guided by what? The fear of Allah. You too, as a driver on the road, you are also supposed to be guided by the fear of Allah. You don't expect him to be guided by the fear of Allah, and you can do whatever you like. That's his own area. This is your own area. He needs to do the right thing. For whose sake? For Allah's sake. You also in your own area, you need to do the right thing for whose sake? For Allah's sake. Like now, a Muslim driver will make sure he never hits anybody. Because as a Muslim, if you hit somebody and the person dies, even if the government pardon you, even if nobody arrests you, you know you have 2 months fasting. If it is by mistake, you have 2 months fasting consecutively to do. Nobody is going to monitor you. Nobody will monitor you. No government is going to monitor you whether you fast or you didn't fast. Somebody else is monitoring you. That is Allah. That's part of the punishment. And you pay what? Diya. Lord, what? Money. Of some millions. Over 60 million. So, you know, when you remember that, you will become what? Cautious. It is not other human beings that impose that on you. It is your Creator who imposed that on you. It shows how Islam protects life. So how many of us think like that way? Today you can easily drive wrong and hit somebody. You say, okay, don't he have eyes? You think he's okay. You are okay. He's supposed to see you coming. Like now you, the driver, the person moving on the road, you will become more careful with that person than, yourself. Because you know when your car hits him, he's more likely to what? To get harmed than you inside what? The car. Or somebody driving Okada, is when you carry passenger on your Okada, the life of that passenger, you will be answerable for it. So if you drive your Okada off and you harm him or he dies along the line, yes, you know that you have punishment to face. That's what makes a Muslim community different. Because apart from the man-made law that they follow, they have Allah's law which governs them. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, we all need to submit ourselves in totality to Allah wa ta'ala. We don't need to take part of the Quran, obey, and part we leave it. That is, we're not supposed to be selective of the law of Allah to obey and the one not to obey. The mu'min is totally submissive to Allah wa ta'ala. أقول ما تسمعون أستغفر الله العظيم الجليل لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب وخطيئة فاستغفروه غفور رحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه ما بعد عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل. My brothers and sisters, indeed, we all, like we said to ourselves right from the beginning, need to be submissive to Allah wa ta'ala. We must always remember that Allah Ta'ala is watching whatever we do. And that's why He told us at the end of that verse, Allah Ta'ala is not unaware of what you do. We must always remember that Allah Ta'ala is watching everything you do and is documenting everything. Nothing, that is no second of your life is not documented. Every second of your life. And that is why those who make mistake thinking that there are aspects of their life that Allah doesn't care about, they will come on the day of resurrection. When their book of record is given to them, they will be making this statement. Allah is telling us what will happen that day. That is, some will come that day when their book of record is handed to them. They will say, Mali hadha kitab. What kind of book is this? La yughadiru saghiratan. It never crosses anything, no matter how small, wala kabiratan, or no matter how big it is, illa ahsaha, except it has it what? Documented. Then Allah says, wajadu ma'amilu hadir. They will see what they do being what? Presented to them. Wala yadhlimu rabbuka ahada. Your Lord will never oppress anybody. So please, every hour of your time, every second of your time, always put Allah Ta'ala on your mind. Yes, I know no one is perfect. You can never have anybody who is 100% upright. It doesn't exist. Because Allah did not make us that way. If they tell you somebody is a righteous man, and I usually give us this definition from time to time, if they tell you that somebody is a righteous man, the meaning is that he is 80% good, 20% bad, or 90% good and 10% what? Bad. That is, his good deeds are 90% and his wrong deeds are what? 10%. Or his good deed 70%, his wrong deed is what? 30%. So no human being is 100% upright, because we are not created that way. Yes. You know, Allah have ways He made His creatures. There are those He created them 100%, even if they kill somebody, they've done the right thing. Right, yeah. You have the angels. They are created 100%, no mistake, because they are programmed like that by Allah. Because He told us in the Quran that La ya'asuna Allah ma amarahum. They will not disobey Allah pertaining to whatever injunction command He gave them. He said, wa yaf'aluna ma yu'marun. What they've been commanded, that's what they do. That's why there's angel taking people's life. If you are driving, he takes your life and the car go and have accident, Allah will not say he is heartless. Because at the time he took that driver's life, it is Allah who commanded him to take that life that time. So it is not his own business to protect the car. It is not his own business to stop the car from accident, because it is not his own duty. Every angel have his own duty, so everybody will face his own duty. So he will not calculate another person's duty added to his own, because he's not asked to do that one. So that's why there is angel that takes the life. Oh, on the day of judgment there are angels that take care of Jannah, angels that take care of what? The hell. Each is made or created to match the duty given to him by Allah. So his nature, that's how Allah made him. It's just like I and you today. Yes, our nature, that's how Allah made us. Yes, He threw some things to us to fight, to struggle with it. Sometimes, yes, you do what is right and you do what is wrong. Sometimes you do what is wrong mistakenly or intentionally. Sometimes you either do what is wrong either deliberately, or sometimes you do it what? Mistakenly. So if you do what is wrong mistakenly, it is still wrong, because it is by mistake will not make it right. But yes, Allah will pardon you because it is what? By mistake. Yes, if somebody else offended you and you thought it's someone else that did that, and you went to attack that person, and after you come to realize that, oh, you attacked what? The wrong person. Yes, you will go and apologize to what? To that person. But yes, that does not mean what you did before was right. What you are apologizing because you did the wrong thing before. So, but ultimately, we should all work towards being 100% upright. I usually tell us that. You as a person, don't relax because they tell you nobody is 100% upright and relax. When you relax, you will have problems. Your own effort should be what? You want to be 100% upright. That should be your effort. And that will make you to get 90, 95, 80, 75. At least you will get pass mark. Just like school. If somebody passed does not mean he got 100%. Somebody will tell you he had A. That A is 90 something. But they will tell you he what? He had distinction. Somebody have B, somebody have C, somebody have what? So virtually everything you have, you will say what? Pass, and from there before you come to what? Fail. Have it? Yes, there's a mark. When you read, that's why on the day of judgment it is a scale. Scales will be weighed. فأما من ثقلت موازينه فهو في عيشة راضية وأما من خفت موازينه فأمه هاوية. Allah says whoever's the good deed outweighs the evil, he is what? He will live a good life. And whoever the evil outweighs the what? The good, he is going to be where? In the head. So on the day of judgment, Allah will weigh your good deed and your wrong deed. If the good is more, you enter Jannah. If you have 51% and you have 49% bad, Jannah is guaranteed for you. The only thing you will now fall within what? The lower class. Yes. And everybody wants what? The highest. So we should struggle inshallah for the highest. So that inshallah, no matter how low we fall down, it won't be what? Too low. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم اجعلنا في مقامنا هذا ذنبا إلا غفرت ولا هما إلا فرجت ولا كربا إلا نفست ولا دينا إلا قضيت ولا عسيرا إلا يسرت ولا عدوا إلا خذلت ولا مبتلا إلا عافيت ولا ميتا إلا رحمته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة هي لك رضا ولنا فيها صلاة إلا أنتنا على وضع الرحمين. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العظيم الجليل يذكركم واشكروه على آلائه ولم يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تفعلون.